Hello. So today I'm going to talk about the books I read in September. We're halfway through September filming this because I had to return these to the library. So the first book I read on ebook was Kingdom of the Wicked by Kerri Maniscalco. It's in the romantasy genre, and I read it on ebook, which is really great because it has a lot of Italian words, so I can click on the words and get definitions right on my phone. So it was really convenient. The first book for me was 3 stars, but I've heard the series gets better as it goes, and I'm halfway through the second book right now. Should be done with that this month, and it is better than the first, writing-wise. So I am seeing the series get progressively better. I mean, it kept my interest, so that's the most important thing. But yeah, the writing in the first book is the best. But yeah, I do recommend it for fall time, though. It revolves around a witch who makes a deal with Prince of Hell so that she can seek revenge. And I don't want to say too much and give it away, but it is like a really engaging storyline, and I hope the writing, gets better, and I hope to like the books more as I keep going through the series. So, should I talk about next? I guess I'll talk about this book, Jacqueline Woodson's Red at the Bone. So I bought this for $1.50 at my local thrift store. With thrift store books are like, it's always like, did someone give this away because it's bad, or like, what? And then at the same time, when I buy a book, I'm biased to like it because it's like, I spent money on it, so I better like it, so I just tell my brain to like it. So it's like 2 conflicting things. But this is 5 out of 5 stars. This book is amazing. It says, 2 families from different social classes are joined together by an unexpected pregnancy and the child that it produces. It shows like every single, like most of the members of the family's perspectives. It's so well written. My only critique would be like those parts where there's like a character writes about their memories of being born. It's like, no one remembers being born. Like, some of the artistic liberties were like a bit too much. That was just like, if I had to pick something wrong with this. But it is still 5 out of 5. And it explores family dynamics in an interesting way. The plot is interesting. It's not boring. There's like this kind of twist. But yeah, it's not too heavy. It's still engaging without being like traumatizing of a book. Yeah, just beautifully written. 5 out of 5. And I highly recommend. I don't read a lot of like, family drama books. So I've not read anything like this. So if you're like hesitant to read this, first of all, like, look how small it is. But don't be hesitant to read this. It's very good. And yeah, I'm like surprised I haven't heard more about this book. It's very, very good. Like, it's just so good. I just recommend it so highly. Then I read A Curious Beginning, a Veronica Speedwell mystery by Deanna Rayburn. This is, oh gosh, I don't know how many books are in this series now. 10, 12, I don't know. I have no idea. But yeah, I am curious to read the other books. At first, I didn't like it, but as I went on, it became like a 4-star, 4.5 star. I don't know. It's just guy and girl team up to solve mystery. That's basically all you need to know. It's set in London in 1887. Don't be scared of historical fiction, especially it's mystery. Like, I've always loved historical fiction. I don't know why people don't like it, but anyway. So yeah, this is really great, really well written. So I'll go in with my one critique is that the main character, there's actually 2 things. decides to follow the male lead. The female lead follows the male lead. Just she's like, oh, it's just on a whim. I have nothing better to do, and this is interesting, so I'm just gonna follow him. So there was like no reason why the two main characters were together. And then the mystery that they're trying to solve is a murder. So the male lead thinks that the female lead is the murderer, and like it was obvious that she wasn't the murderer. And then he was like, "You're my captive," at the very beginning of the book. And then she could escape like the whole time. So it just made no sense how the two characters came together. But other than that issue, the book was great. So yeah, even I don't know. The author should have done is just had the two characters connected in some way. Like they both knew the guy that was murdered, and that should have been enough for them to just come together. They didn't need to throw like, oh, he thinks that she was the murderer, because like that doesn't even make sense when you read this book. Gosh. So it should have just been like they both knew who was murdered. They were both targeted by the same murderer, so they decided to come together. And the plot should have just been they both really wanted to figure out who the murderer was, and then that just made them team up instead of making him suspicious of her. Even though the female lead was introduced to the main lead, so the male lead could protect her from the murder. So why would she need protection if she was a murderer? So like the beginning of this book made no sense. But if you cut out the beginning and just the rest of the book, I was like, do I need to like DNF this? Like, and then it got really good. So yeah, it's kind of a problem about how the two characters started off the book, but if you look past that, it's great. So yeah, that's the only thing. The writing is really good, really funny. Just a really good, engaging writing, very skilled writing through the whole thing. And this book is Aurora Burning by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff. This is the second book in the Aurora Cycle series. So the Aurora Cycle series is basically Star Trek with teenagers. Talk about it all the time. I've liked everything Jay Kristoff has written except Empire of the Vampire, but I don't know. Maybe talk about it another day, probably not. But so yeah, I like everything he writes. So like I don't know. I don't know. If I'm kind of picky about why, I can say that. But it being like there's like silly fake curse words, and that's the only like cringy thing. And also there's a lot of like crushes in the book, which is a bit, like YA pandering, I guess. I don't know. And the only thing two things I don't like is that it has all the characters' perspectives, so I like couldn't remember whose perspective I was reading. And I don't like, this is Cal, one of the main characters, and I don't like this plot device called The Pull, which just like his true love or whatever is they don't use that true love, but that's what it is. He just experiences the pull, so it's an inexplicable attraction to like the one you're supposed to be with, and it's just like it's like annoying to read. So I actually like insta love, but this book makes me not like insta love. And like Cal's only character trait is that he's just like in love with her, but for no reason. So it's just kind of annoying. So yeah, that was the only thing I didn't like about this. Yeah. So yep, I'm in the middle of like 5 books right now. So that's why there's like a small number I completed. But yep, that is it. And thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Oh, and this is 4 stars. Okay.